Welcome to It Starts With Courage podcast with Kat and Jen. What is it? It's everything. Everything you want in life starts with courage. How you doing this 2022, Jen? We missed you last week.
I know. I was bummed that I couldn't be here, but
Taylor did an amazing job.
Yeah, y'all were able to push through without me.
Push through, baby. That's what we do.
Cool. So,
what's been on your mind?
I'm wanting to get right into this today.
Okay.
Okay. So, I know we spent some time on New Year's resolutions, and we all have different resolutions, but just from talking to friends and stuff, I think one of the New Year's resolutions I'm hearing the most about is having to do with money. Mm-hmm. A lot of people go through the holidays. They spend a lot of money on gifts for friends, family members, things like that. And so they start the new year out broke.
Yes. I did no gifts. Do you want to know what I gave my family for Christmas this year?
Hugs.
Aside from going to see them, I found a very nice box. I wrote a note that said, "Oh, my love." Love, Auntie Catherine. And I wrapped that baby up. And I gave the same box to everyone. Right there. I tried to capture everything, all the love that I have inside. No money spent. Love is free, baby.
You're so cheap.
Yeah.
If people don't know, Kat, let me just tell you, this girl is cheap. Cheap. I'm working on it, guys. I'm working on it.
I'm just not a spender.
I know, but I mean, you gave your whole family the same box of love.
Yeah. I mean, that's priceless right there.
Well, I know you're not the favorite aunt. I know you're not the favorite sister.
You would be surprised.
Well, okay. So I wanted to talk about just getting out of debt, making some extra money, getting ahead in life, how we manage money. It just seems like a lot of people struggle with this.
Yeah.
And I'm one of the, in real estate, I'm one of the Dave Ramsey endorsed local realtors. Basically, Dave Ramsey is a financial guru. He has a bunch of training, Financial Peace University, and you can find him all over the place, but he helps people get out of debt, become debt-free. And his company is based out of Nashville. You can actually get debt-free, go and do a debt-free scream there. He has a podcast. He has all kind of stuff. So he endorses certain realtors that kind of align with his values and his teachings for how to buy a house. You know, he wants you to do like a 15-year mortgage instead of a 30-year, put money down, and kind of all these different things. So
right.
I have followed him closely over the years, even before I was an endorsed local provider. And just kind of want to talk about the first thing is if you have no idea where to start with getting out of debt, saving money, the first thing is to get out of debt, right? Like that's what we need to strive for. Before we can save money and invest money, we need to kind of start from ground zero. So the first thing you should do is go ahead and get a list of all of your bills. So if you have credit card bills, student loans, different, you went to Rooms to Go, you went to Best Buy, you have, all these different accounts. Look at all your bills and see your monthly payments, and you make a list of each one and start them from the highest balance to the lowest balance. Yeah. So the thought process there is let's say your lowest bill is $100 a month. What can you do? Let's say you owe $300 and it's $100 payment per month.
Per month, yeah.
So let's say you can go do something on the side. You can go clean a few houses or something. You can make an extra money. So you pay $300 that month to get rid of that bill instead of the $100. So you knock that one out.
So just so that I'm getting a better understanding. So are you starting? You said you're starting with the smallest amount of debt that you have. Does interest not pay
Yeah, we're not
role in this. Like
No.
if I have one that's like $500 and another one is $700, but the one that's $700 is technically less interest compared to the $500 one.
Yeah, we're not really looking at the interest right now because what we're trying to do is knock it down really quickly. So the thought process is like, all right, you have all your bills, and if you have this $100 bill every month and you can knock that one out, then you kind of pretend in your mind that you have, that $100 still there. So you don't go use that $100 to get a manicure and pedicure. You use that extra $100 to pay that next highest bill.
Right.
So if that next highest bill was the $700 with the lower interest rate, now you're paying the minimum payment on that, but then you're taking that extra $100 that you were paying out and you add it to that. And so in a few months, you're going to have that one paid too. So now that's freed up $300 per month. So once you have $300 extra, you take that $300 and you pay it to the next highest.
Yeah.
And you keep snowballing it to where the higher bills you have, like by the time you get there, you're putting that down an extra $1,000, $1,500 a month on those bigger bills, and it's actually taking a chunk out of them.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just kind of started with $100 and you have a $5,000 credit card bill, you're not really making much progress.
Right.
And you're just knocking down all this debt. So if you're interested in that, if you have some debt that you're trying to get rid of in your life, maybe just after the holidays, you can look up Dave Ramsey, the debt snowball, and kind of learn more about that.
Yeah.
But then I think
that requires some sacrifice though, because which is good. I think to make these big changes in life, there's some things that you're going to have to give up in order to be able to knock down some of these debts, things that I guess we could consider as wants as opposed to actual needs.
Yes.
So whether it's, do you need to go and get that Starbucks every day, or can you cut it down to once a day and take that extra $30 that you may save to put towards a bill?
Yeah.
Right?
And that's another thing is that you have, most of us have a monthly income that we're working with, right? We have a job that you get paid this amount per month, so you kind of know that. One of the principles he teaches is kind of going out there and finding a side hustle, finding a way, whether that's having like a garage sale and making some money off of stuff you don't need anymore, or putting things on eBay, or doing some kind of side hustle. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a little while, but you've got to find a way to make some extra money so that you can make progress a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
And that goes back to, like you said, sacrificing a little bit. And sacrifice can be as big as like, getting your nails done, getting massages, getting new purses or clothes or those kind of things. But like you said, it could be as much as, okay, well, I'm not a big shopper and I don't do all those things, but I don't bring my lunch to work. So my lunch costs me $15 to $20 every day. So now I need to start bringing my lunch to work, because then over a month of 20 work days in a month, that adds up to quite a bit of money that you can then take that and start kind of chunking down on some of your bills. So,
I like what you said about everybody trying to get a side hustle. I think it was, I've heard this from you and a few other people that, there aren't very many successful people or wealthy people who get wealthy from just working their job. You have to have your hands in many things. And one thing that I've heard a lot about 2020, 2021 is passive income. There is no such thing as passive income. So if you're thinking, let me just get something where I can make some passive income, get rid of that.
It's all work.
It's all work.
Even rental property, people are like, oh, it's mailbox money. It could be mailbox money maybe 1 month or 2 months, but you're eventually going to have to track people down. You're going to have to fix things. You're going to have to, people are going to move out. You're going to have, it's a job. It takes time.
Yeah.
It just depends on how much involvement you have, or do you have somebody managing it for you, things like that. But the side hustle, I'd like to talk about that a little bit more because
Yeah.
I know like Insecure Fitness, that makes you some money, right?
Yeah.
Now, after years of
Putting in the hard work.
the grind, but you didn't really go into Insecure Fitness thinking I'm going to make money. You were giving back to people. You wanted to do workouts. You wanted to impact people in a positive way, but it turned into a side hustle that you've been able to turn and do a lot with.
Yeah.
So kind of tell us about that journey a little bit.
So I think, again, that is something that people who will just look at Insecure Fitness, it was quite interesting when I went home for Christmas, and my sister said, gosh, this is really a job. This is really a job outside of whatever other job that a person may have, because aside from, I suppose at the beginning, it was just, wake up early in the morning, I go to the gym, I just record my workouts afterwards, post it, and it is something fun. It's something I enjoy, but I guess the bigger it grew, there's a lot more involvement in it. I've started head wraps. We obviously have this podcast. There's so many different moving parts that you have to stay accountable to. You have to be organized. You have to remember, okay, well, I need to speak to this group about this. I need to speak to that group about that. So it's all work, worthwhile work. It's something I enjoy doing, so it doesn't come across as I'm having to work hard. But honestly, it's hard work because you wake up, I'm either up 4:35, I have to do something. Every little break that you get, there's something that needs to be done. So if I catch a quick break at work, okay, do I need to make sure that my post is up? When I get home, do I have my workouts for the week? Is this set up? Have I replied this email? So it's nonstop. And I think, obviously, if you have a job that provides you everything that you need and you don't have any debt, or you're able to knock out all these debts by eliminating a few luxuries in your life, great. But if you're also just somebody who also has a job that knocks all that out, but you just want a little bit more for yourself to build something, because I think that's what Insecure Fitness has become. It's become more about building a legacy, building something outside of working for an organization, working for people, because that's not my legacy. That's that organization's legacy. This is mine. I'm building this for me. Same as with you and your real estate. That's something that you've built with your own hands. You know, it's not something that anybody else can take ownership of.
Yeah. And I have, some side things with that. I'm doing some coaching for agents. So now I've kind of reached a production level where agents are calling me and saying, hey, can you coach me to help me grow my business? So that's kind of been a side thing. And I have the Workflow Shop, which is a transaction coordination company. And we've created this software we spent 2 years creating. And me and my 2 business partners, we've been working on this for a really long time. And we put in a ton of work.
Right.
And for 2 years, we haven't even really had a product. The software hasn't. It just got finished.
Right.
So now we can start selling it. But like for 2 years, you're putting in the hours and hours. The same thing with Insecure Fitness. You put in years of consistency there. And I think people kind of miss that the grind. You have to grind it out, and you have to put in the work. And sometimes that could be years of work before you see any financial gain from it. But back to the side hustles, there was something you said. You said you love what you do with Insecure Fitness, so it doesn't feel like work. Right. I think that's super important if you're doing some kind of
something on the
side that you're building as a legacy. You have to enjoy it, or it's just going to be like you have a second job. I think for me, when I think of side hustles, there's kind of 2 types, right? There's the type that you're going to do for a short period of time, probably. just to get you like out of debt or a little bit ahead, and then eventually you'll probably let that go.
Yeah.
Or there's like this whole other legacy that you've built that's
Right.
something that maybe could one day turn into your main job
Right.
At some point. But like, I just challenge people to kind of think outside the box of like, what could you do extra to help yourself or your family? And some of the ideas, I just wanted to bring up some ideas because some people might think like, I don't know what I can do.
But I think with that, I also want to acknowledge that some side hustles, like the ones that we get to do that we love, are a luxury. I understand that it's not everybody that can just go out and pursue the things that they want, that they love as a side hustle. Right. I guess speaking from an immigrant perspective, there are people who may come to said country, whether it's the US, Canada, the UK, and they still have this great responsibility of people who may be back in their home country looking to them to provide as well. So I understand that also limits their income and how they can take care of debt. They may be getting into more debt, looking out for their family because they may be the main breadwinner. And I know just from growing up in life and seeing some side hustles that people have had to take on, cleaning, doing all sorts of stuff. It may not be the glamorous thing, but I guess, and it may be years of hard work to get out of debt. Sorry, I just went silent there because I just thought of all the different stories of all these people who I know who've had to work 3 jobs at a time to stay afloat, take care of their debts, and take care of people who depend on them. Yeah. So if you're somebody who is privileged, I guess, enough to not have to work as many jobs, but if you want to get to the next level, to the next stage, get out of some debts that may just be lingering, you have to do that extra work.
Yeah. And so back to what I was going to talk about is just like, what are different things? Like I can see in my mind, people listening to this and saying like, I don't know what I could do extra. I'd like to do something extra. But I mean, it could be as I found doing the Airbnbs, like it's hard to find people to clean an Airbnb.
Yeah.
And be consistent and
trustworthy.
Yeah. Like, so, I mean, that could be something.
There is an app. Did I tell you about this app where basically it's kind of like Airbnb, but for cleaners where.
Yeah. Turnover Airbnb.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. That doesn't really work for me because of that app has a bunch of different cleaners and you go on and you could have a different cleaner every time. So I wanted someone with consistency of who knows my property, knows my standards, knows what I need done. Also, I give them a key to the owner's closet.
Yeah.
So like, that's another thing. Like I don't want, 10 or 15 different cleaners and just no consistency. I think it could work for people, but that just on the way that I do the business doesn't work out. But it could be that. It could be if you're a mom or just someone out there that is really good in Canva, making social media content. You might have a friend at the gym or a small business person that is trying to grow their business, and they're like, I tell you, I suck at that kind of stuff. Like I will hire that all day long because for me to try to be creative in that way and make it look good, like I'll waste so much time. But I would love like to pay somebody to do it for me if they do a really good job. And that could be something that you do late at night after the kids go to bed, or you do it really early in the morning, or you do it on your lunch break or things like that. I mean, even just, if you're good at taking pictures or editing or writing, people need blogs written. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do with your talent.
I was a braider for a long time. I think I've been braiding hair since I was 14. That's always been my biggest side hustle through
Yeah.
university. At any point, I've always done hair. So
I tell people that all the time when they come to me about getting a house, and I go over like what is qualifying income and what is not. That's one of my examples I use all the time. Like if you're doing hair on the side, because y'all make good money doing hair. Yeah.
Yes.
Like because it could take hours upon hours upon hours to do that. So you make good money, but unfortunately, if you're not paying taxes on it, you can't use it to buy a house.
What about if you just put it in your savings? And it's savings. It's there. You saved it.
Well, you're getting very technical. It just depends on how long it's been there. So, but anyway, okay. So we've kind of talked about like getting out of debt, some strategies. We talked about, okay, making extra money. Now, kind of want to wrap it up with talking about a couple different things I think we've always been taught, you have to have a budget, right? You have to have a budget every month to know where your money is going instead of wondering where it's going.
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, okay, you have a checking account and a savings account. You spend and you save. And I feel like a lot of people don't even think about an investment account. And in my mind, you should have three things. You should, have your operating budget that you're living on every month. You should save money for your emergency fund or things that break and, car tires and broken refrigerators and things like that. But then you also should have an investment account. And that's for, any kind of investments, whether that's in the stock market or buying real estate or anything you're going to do to help build the long-term wealth.
Yeah.
And it goes back to that quote, it takes money to make money.
Yeah.
It does take money to make money. And it goes back to that sacrifice of, what's more sexy than that Louis Vuitton purse is a big bank account.
Yeah.
Like being able to open your bank account and seeing money in there. That to me is definitely a better deal. So
I think budgeting is definitely big, what you said, and a lot of people don't know how to budget. I just thought of a budget tracker that I downloaded and followed. If you guys, I don't know how many of you out there know, she's a YouTuber called Patricia Bright. We'll try and put a link somewhere up on our website where you can download this free budget tracker, and you put in how much your income is. It has your savings, it has investments, how much you should dedicate to each, and you can essentially plan your year out. Because I think most of us, you mentioned budgeting, but most of us don't know where to start.
Yeah.
So something like that, trying to find a good budget tracker. There are many out there.
Yeah. And I would just say, like, on the investment side, you've got to sacrifice some things so that your investment account is ready for the opportunity. Because like what happened in March of 2020, when the world shut down due to COVID, what happened to the stock market?
It went down.
It crashed.
Yeah.
And there were people that had $100,000 in savings. And guess what? To them, that was a buy opportunity.
Yeah.
So they bought it when it crashed. And then over the last year or two, it's gone back up to normal numbers and they've made a ton of money.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the money saved, then you can't take the chance on that opportunity. And unfortunately, there's no crystal ball out there that says, okay, in 6 months, there's going to be this disaster that happens and there's going to be an opportunity. So there's part of our population that, like, you know, they're living paycheck to paycheck and they struggle during that time. But a lot of the wealthy people, they had money sitting in their investment accounts,
Lucky them.
and they invested, and then that's it takes money to make money, right? And so
I guess you have to be prepared. It's like putting yourself in the position to move when opportunity presents itself.
That's right. And having the courage to take the opportunity.
Investments are scary, guys. I put $500 into crypto and it crashed. So definitely take your time to do your research with these investments. Find somebody at the bank, a financial, what are they called? Them people.
Planner.
Those ones. That's
financial
the one.
Financial planner.
If you don't know anything about the stock market, investments, find somebody to talk to about that if that's something that you're interested in.
Yep. So that's my episode for today. I just wanted to encourage everybody. I know that money is a source of stress in most people's lives. And I thought maybe just a few of these tips might help you in 2022 get into a place where you're happy, you have a healthy bank account, you can do the things you want to do, and it really gives you a lot of freedom to not have to worry so much about day-to-day expenses. So
make that plan. No money is free, friends.
All right, Kat. Well, that's all I have for today.
Woody-hoo. Until next week, Jen.
Peace.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of It Starts With Courage podcast with Kat and Jen. If you like this episode of the podcast, visit our website, iswcpodcast.com, for show notes and other cool things.